We are at the pointy end of the tournament, right?
Yeah.
For all the teams that are playing in the semifinals, they are
Champion teams usually conjure victories
find
even
a way.
when they're staring at defeat.
Like strategically, I think there needs to be a way to play Kuldeep Yadav. I don't know how it's going to work. Look, New Zealand were in a bit of a limbo. They lost the game against England,
Yeah.
right? And their semi-final hopes were hanging by a thread, right?
Indeed, yes. I mean, they squeaked in through, the mere fact of superior net run rate. That was basically how they got it. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Borders and Beyond. Today, we are going to be talking about the semi-finals for the T20 World Cup with the four teams. That's India, South Africa, England, and New Zealand. And to talk about this and do a bit of a deep dive, I have with me the resident chief and the resident expert, Vinnie. Welcome, Vinnie.
Thanks, Martin. Thank you for having me again.
No, no, no. All good, mate. All good. Look, it's coming to the very pointy end of the tournament, and as a result, we might be doing this a bit more often. But look, the first game is about to start very shortly, or the first semi-final game. So before we do, I mean, before the game starts, I thought, look, let me just kind of reel you in and get you to dissect this a little bit. So I will hand this over to you, and let's start off with the game that is being played tonight here in Australia, which will be midnight here. That is the South Africa New Zealand game. Walk us through it, mate.
Oh, absolutely. As you correctly pointed out, look, this has been a long-ish tournament, right? We've
Yeah.
had double headers, we've had games every day rather, and it got to the stage where once the semi-finals were decided, the last 48 hours, um, it was almost like I had to go cold turkey from anything to do with cricket.
Yep.
There was suddenly nothing to watch and nothing to ponder about,
Yep.
right? And so it was almost, I was struggling to find stuff. But yeah, as you rightly pointed out, we are at the pointy end of the tournament, right?
Yep.
For all the teams that are playing in the semifinals, they are two games away from lifting the trophy, right?
Oh no.
Potentially one game. They'll be if they win the game in the next 48 hours, they're one
Yep.
game away from lifting the trophy. So the way they look at it is there's literally two games from lifting the trophy. So
Yep. Indeed.
does not
Indeed.
give any more context to that. Right. So the way the Super Eights finished up, we had a few matches hanging on a thread.
Yep.
South Africa were by far the undisputed team of the tournament, I dare
Indeed.
say,
Yep.
right?
Indeed.
In the lead up to throughout the league stages and in the Super Eight stage, in the Super Eight stages as well, they
Yep.
blew the opposition out of the water. Out of the water. They
Yep.
are the team to beat, right?
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Absolutely. Because they have won every single game they've played, isn't it? They have they haven't
Every single game.
they haven't they haven't dropped any.
They haven't dropped the beat. They haven't dropped a beat. They have been as clinical as they come.
Hmm.
Now on the other side of the ledger, and when we discussed this in the last episode as well, uh, the team that surprised me was England. England was the second team to have qualified. Uh, a team. What's the best way to describe it? That had patchy performance at best, but have still managed to find a way to win, right?
Suffered
And
their way through.
started look, they there were games that they shouldn't have won, but they still won, right?
Hmm.
I don't have to look further than the England Nepal game. There were games that they should have lost. But look, in their defense, they found a way to win. They've scrapped, they've heaved, and they've managed to cross the finishing line. They were the second team to qualify for the semifinals. Again, throughout the
Hmm.
group stage stages, undefeated. Now, that's not something I would have predicted, but credit where credit's due. I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of teams would have had England in their top four.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
So, would you then consider them a champion team because where they never were meant to win, they've won. They've conjured a victory that basically says that champion teams usually conjure victories even
find a way.
when they're staring at defeat.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, I'll hold on to
Yep.
that thought only
Hmm.
because that applies to every team that's qualified for the semi-final, barring South
Okay.
Africa. Barring South Africa, I think every other team will sit in there thinking we haven't played a perfect game as yet, but yet here we are.
Yep.
Now, England will take a little more confidence going in because they haven't dropped a game in the Super
Yep.
Eights,
Yep.
right? Going back, we all thought, well, India had their work cut out for themselves.
Hmm.
The last game being India West Indies. Look, New Zealand were in a bit of a limbo. They lost the game against England,
Yep.
right? And their semi-final hopes were hanging by a thread, right?
Indeed, yes. I mean, they squeaked in through, the mere factor superior net run rate. That was basically how they got it.
And the fact that Pakistan, yeah, didn't do as well as they expected
You're
themselves to
correct.
do. So,
So, I mean, it's not. It was neither here nor there. It wasn't their performance that got them there. It was just,
no,
at the end of the day, it all came down to the run rate, and which is not an exact way of going. But look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. A win is a win, isn't it? And getting in is
correct.
a matter. That's all that
And
matters.
and so yeah, New Zealand qualified, and then India obviously had a real good game against the West Indies in a do or die situation. Look, we don't have to, praises are still being sung from rooftops about the innings Sanju Samson played, but there's the bowling stood up as well. So there was a lot of assets in there, that aspects in the game that stood up as well. So
Yeah,
in India's credit, they're in the
yeah,
semi-finals as well. So those
yeah,
are the four teams. And what then meant was
yeah,
South Africa now square off against New Zealand in the first semi-final. So we're on the eve of the first semi-final.
yeah,
Now they will be playing their game in Kolkata at the Eden Gardens,
yeah.
the iconic Eden Gardens,
Yeah.
and India will play England
At
tomorrow
one cut.
night
At one cut.
at Wankhede in Mumbai.
Okay. So
Right.
let's look at the first game today, which is the Kolkata game. There are there are there are issues there in terms of the due, and so there's a feeling that if you bat second, you have a better chance than if you bat first. So I guess the question is this all very dependent on the toss or who wins the toss?
Look, any other game ground, I would have said probably not. In Eden Gardens, especially at this time of the year,
Yeah,
um, there is, and at the time at which the game is going to be played as well, it's a day nighter. There
yeah,
is a tendency for heavy dew to set in.
yeah.
Now, having said that, um, I think what we need to bring into the equation is historically, yes, you would favor the the team batting second to have
Mm,
a little more advantage. Now let's bring the context of the game. This is a World Cup semi-final.
yeah,
It is a knockout game.
it is.
You lose the game, you're out of the tournament. That's you're done for the next 2 years, right? There isn't another T20 World Cup for another 24 months.
Hmm.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is you can look at it, and I think this is how the teams will look at it as well. You can look at it and say, "Oh, this is toss dependent. Let's just put all our eggs. Let's resign our fate to destiny." And other ways to say, you know what? Doesn't matter what the thing. We will have a game plan for every eventuality. Now, I say this because in a knockout semifinal World Cup game, runs on the board, having to chase it is not going to be easy, right? So if New Zealand opt to chase, they
Hmm.
are up against a top class bowling attack, right? They will find a way to make the conditions work for them.
Yeah,
This isn't just a bowling attack. The fielding is top notch. This is an all round A-level team, right?
Yeah. So I got to ask you the question. So
Yep.
this is two different philosophies that are coming into play here. One is the pace attack led by Ingidi and Marco Janssen and Rabada against spin variations of Mitchell Santner, Sodhi, Ravindra, and so on and so forth. There are two different styles that are coming into play here, right? And who do you think is better suited for the
Income.
Eden Gardens
I
pitch?
dare say, and this is I have the tournament so far has proved given testimony to it. South Africa have a much more balanced attack. Now, as much as you've got three frontline quicks
Mm,
with South Africa,
mm,
the versatility they provide is next level. Ingidi can crank the pace up from all the way to 140 clicks and drop the pace down to about 120 or
mm,
110 with basically no change in his action. With a mere flick of the wrist, that is deadly, right? Marco Janssen, with his 7 foot frame, has
that man is something else in there.
that man, and that's the thing, right? This is why, and we'll talk about this is why this team looks determined. This man has had to battle a few demons. The last outing that he had in the World Cup in India wasn't great.
Mm,
When that was when they played the tournament 23 World Cup, he got smashed.
mm,
Then in the 2024 T20 World Cup in the USA, he had a bad outing against India as well. This man has now discovered his niche. Now, again, he can be quick if he wants to, but what he gets
mm.
is discerning bounce, and he's developed all these variations. And his record in this tournament is there to see for everyone. So he can almost be between Ngidi and Marco Janssen. They can be de facto spinners and pacers at the same time.
Mm. What do you think of? They're saying that it's a master stroke how Aiden Markham has moved Ngidi's role from the power play to mostly the middle and the dead overs. And as a result of that, this has now become a really, really potent setup. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that it's great. And that's not just credit to Markram as well. That's credit to Ngidi. He spent some time with during the IPL and he said it out. It's on record as well.
Mm,
He spent some time with the Chennai Super Kings under the
mm,
bowling coach Dwayne Bravo. Now, Dwayne Bravo's niche
mm,
was really those slower balls, the slower off cutters, if you like,
mm,
pace bowling all around a bowler that bowls off pace deliveries. And he's literally just picked that off him. And credit to him, he's worked on it. He's honed on that skills. So what that's done for Aiden Markram and the think tank in South Africa is this is why South Africa's attack is deadly. Now, if it's a condition that favors only fast, it's a fast wicket. He doesn't need to resort to that slow ball. He can go full pace. Whereas
mhm.
if there is something in the wicket, if the ball stick, it's a bit of tacky nature. He can go for those cutters and catch the batsman by surprise. So that's why this becomes dangerous. It's not one
Okay.
dimensional.
And your thoughts on New Zealand dropping Jimmy Neesham? What do you think of that? I mean, and bringing in
Yeah,
the other guy Cole.
yeah. Look, Jimmy Neesham is. I don't want to say he is a bit of a T20 specialist,
Mm,
uh, but he has been playing for a while, so teams have figured him out a little bit from that utility point of view. And look, he's nowhere
mm.
near his best. He's a freelancer now. He hasn't played. That's not to say he's probably in touch with the T20 side of things,
Yeah.
but yeah, his stocks are on the decline. His skills are sort of on the decline as well.
Right.
Um,
So, yep. Go on. Sorry. My apologies.
no problem. So I think that was a good call as well. I think Jimmy Neesham, if anything, was in the team based on legacy. But he sort of burned through that goodwill, if you like.
Okay. Fair enough. So the way this sounds to me, based on what you're kind of exposing here or talking about, is that the the South Africans have phenomenal bat, right? I mean, they're just a power packed batting lineup, and the Kiwis are not. So it's kind of two different sets. Now, I guess it's who comes to party that matters on the day, right? And who can handle the pressure of that setup, that will matter. Uh, but based on what you've just said, to me, that sounds like, all things being equal, this is a South African game to lose.
Correct. And I, you've hit the nails on the point. The summary was perfect. I dare say it's point number two that you made that will hold more weightage here. It's the team that holds their nerve in both the semifinals is the
Yeah.
one that will end up lifting the cup, right? In the finals and in the semifinal, it's literally the team. Look, in the team's defense, they they've earned their spots here. It's by sheer merit of their weight of the performances, right? On the back of their performances. Now, in terms of South Africa and New Zealand, you've nailed it. South Africa is the team to beat. This is a game. This is theirs to lose. And put it
Mm.
this way, New Zealand has to be at their absolute best to beat the South African team.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I've always had a soft spot for the Kiwis, right? I really do. And I feel like everyone underestimates them. Everyone takes them for granted, and they come in
But
and give you
they
a
always, they're
performance.
always, they're always consistent performers, Martin. They
Yeah,
fly under
yeah.
the radar.
And my thing with South Africa, as much as they're so good, they're one of their biggest issues and the weaknesses everyone has seemed to have said is the fact that they tend to choke. Right? There's that psychological vulnerability that they face. We're carrying that historical weight of failing at the sharp end of the World Cup,
Yes.
right?
And
And I'm not sure, that includes, that 2024 T21. So I mean, unless they have excised excised those demons, I have a feeling this might just, yeah, just might be a problem.
no, no, no.
I'm sorry to I'm sorry to go into soliloquy here, but it's like very similar to India Pakistan, and I hate to bring this on, and the Pakistanis just play a weird game, and they
Yeah,
completely lose it. And I feel it's not that bad, but I feel like that psychological barrier, you have to cross that. It happens in tennis, you've seen it.
of course,
It
100%.
happens in most games. That psychological barrier, if you can cross it, then it's done and dusted. There'll be a
Yeah.
team.
No, no, that's a real good call to make as well. And South Africa, you know, for right or wrong reasons, they've had the C word attached to them. And look, they have at the last hurdle, they've got to stages where they haven't been able to cross the last hurdle. But under this coach and this regime, I can actually see a difference. Now, that is
Mm.
evidenced by them winning the World Test Championship, Martin. They beat a full strength Australian side, right? It's not a team of superstars, but a bunch that know what they have to do to win, right? Led by Temba Bavuma there. You then
He's a
come
good
back.
captain.
He's a good captain again, an unassuming guy, but doesn't have the tats for it. He's not a 7 foot guy. You see him across the road, he looks like a regular you and I. But
Mm.
this is a man soft spoken, gets the job done, leads by example. It's just a work
Man
ethic.
of steel.
Man of steel, and his troops. He was the right person to lead the test team. Now you go further. I know we're conflating formats, but this is a team that came into India and whitewashed them less than
Mm.
12 months ago as well.
Yeah, I agree.
This is a team that has now they've developed a quiet resolve amongst themselves. They don't go around making outlandish statements,
No,
right? This isn't. They don't have superstars in the sense of an A.B. de Villiers or a Dale Steyn, right?
Donkey
Um,
Roads.
Jonty Rhodes, none of them. Aiden Markram is a good bat, but he is no sort of Jonty Rhodes level or an AB de Villiers, right? But he gets the job done. This is a guy who stepped up to the top of the order. There is a quiet resolve amongst this team. David Miller, he's going to carry the heartbreak of that 2024 World Cup. It was his wicket that essentially cost them the game.
Yeah.
They needed 30 of 30, and he was running away the game before that happened.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100% agree. And it's going to be really, really. I
Mm.
think it's going to be an extremely tactical game.
And that
Played, and whoever sticks to the script is going to win.
and you're hitting all the buzzwords, Martin. I think what South Africa have shown in this team is by the sheer weight of their performance is not just out batting and out bowling a team, it's the tactics. They haven't gone with the same template in every game. And that's when you know a team is riding a wave of confidence, right? There were
Mm,
plays in between where they looked like they were put on the pump, but they managed to get a way around it. And again, not just barely win. They then flip the script around and then just go for the kill,
yeah, I agree. Once they get that monkey off their back of not, this psychological monkey off their back, they'll be unbelievable. I mean, I'll draw a parallel here very quickly, and then we'll move to the next game. Um, there was a time when the All Blacks, in all their World Cups, they couldn't win. They
Yeah,
always falter, right? And it was a monkey on the back until they crossed that barrier, the psychological barrier. Once they crossed that barrier, my God,
yeah.
there
There's
was
no
something
stopping
else,
them.
right? And I think that's basically where South Africa is at this moment in time. Is at that nadir
Yeah,
where once they cross that barrier, they are you. There is no look. It'll be something else to watch that team, right? It'll
correct.
take a superhuman effort to beat
Absolutely,
these
absolutely.
all set of all rounders. All right.
And
Well,
and that's and just to sort of finish up that point as well, Martin.
yeah.
I
Mm.
think the evidence of that was displayed in the game against Afghanistan, where they went through two super overs. And when I talk about
Oh yeah,
adaptability,
that's right.
the adaptability was up until then, all the super overs were bowled by the Pacers. But when it came to South Africa's turn to bowl, and for Afghanistan's case in the last super over, um, they gave the ball to Keshav Maharaj, the spinner, left arm spinner. That is now look, benefit of hindsight, we could if that had gone south,
South.
we would have said yeah,
Mm.
and we would have criticized him. But I think it's the conviction, it's the belief that they're like, no, he's good enough to do this for us. They could
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
easily gone the safe route and gone,
Yep.
let's go a pacer. They decide, and to Maharaj's credit as well, he said, give me the ball, I'll do this. And look, they were really close to this stage. They nearly lost the game, but again, they won.
You got to give credit
And
where credit is due. Afghanistan, they're phenomenal. They played
yeah,
the game. They really
it
did.
did. But South Africa, even at that crunch situation, decided to go for another script.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway,
Agreed. And
so
champion. All right. Now let's moving on. We're going to look at the India England game.
yeah,
Now, obviously, I'm going to let you just dissect it for us, mate. I mean, with India, obviously, there was a 76-run loss against South Africa, which kind of, took made India's entry into the Super 8 a bit, the semi-finals a bit
oh,
shaky. It was exceptionally shaky until then the good Sanju Samson, a fellow Keralite, came in and saved the show for everyone. And but I'll let you dissect this for us, mate, if you don't
yeah,
mind.
no, absolutely, Martin. Look, that 76-run loss was not just a loss. I think what we discussed in the previous episode was that literally stripped bare India's game plan.
Mm,
Right, they were out batted, they were out bowled, they were outfielded, they were out coached. Right. Um, the good thing from that was since then,
mm,
not only have India won two back-to-back games, but they've rethought their team combination, and we seem to have settled on a good batting order, for want of a better word, right? With Sanju
mm.
Samson and Abhishek Sharma at the top of the order, um, Ishan Kishan down to number 3, and Tilak Varma up until then, as much as he was scoring runs, was not going at the clip that was required for a T20 chase. Right,
Yeah.
he was being found out by spin. Um, the rejigging of the batting order and having Tilak drum to number five has done confidence, a world of confidence for Tilak himself. He's
Mm.
had back to back some really good sparkling innings. Um, it looks like he's found his spot there as well. So that, in the grand scheme of things, that loss was needed. You could
Yeah.
argue was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So I guess when you talk about the Indian team, uh, it's been exposed. One of now the weakness they're having is the vulnerability to finger spin, right? And they have lost what 19 wickets to it, and then obviously not having not having a great set of tournament in terms of catching, because as I say, catching wins matches, and so and as we discussed before we came on board was that catching is a sign of confidence, and we are, I think, not doing
No,
that well in the confidence
correct.
meter,
Yeah,
or the confidence spectrum. So we have we have that weakness. Our strengths obviously, or our philosophy is swing hard from ball one, right,
correct.
and off
No
we go.
letting
That's
up.
the brand.
Yeah,
That's the brand of cricket we're bringing.
correct.
But I mean, it's a form of what we would call baseball, I guess. Is it? Is it? Would you call it that or not?
No, no,
Maybe not.
no.
No, probably not. Just ultra aggressive, swing hard from ball one, off you go, Bob's your uncle, and hope to God the whole thing comes good.
Well, I wouldn't say hope to God. It's
Okay.
the the only reason I say, and that's why it's sort of it's not an ultra aggressive approach, but it's almost the approach where doesn't matter what the state of the game is in, we
Mm,
will go out swinging. Right now, you will fail at some point, but the good thing about that is every batsman is now empowered to don't to not look for the safe option. Now it's very easy, and the reason I say this is it was look, Sanju Samson struggled to break into the 11, right?
yeah.
And even when he did, the, the biggest criticism that was directed to him was his innings was short and sweet. He'd make
Mm,
a quick fire 15 or a 20 that was great for the highlights package, but that was it. Now, he could have easily, dropped his guard. It's not really. He could have planted his foot down and said, you know what, I'm just going to take my time and score a 50 here. Nerdled it around. That was never evident. Even in a case like Abhishek Sharma, the man is struggling for ducks, but every game he goes out swinging. Previous generations of the Indian batting lineup would have said, you know what, I'll just back my way through the innings. There's 10 other players, let them take the risk. I'll just play for a 50, get my average up.
mm.
We are a nation that's obsessed with milestones.
Milestones and stats.
Stats, exactly. So what the T20 revolution is now, and uh, this is from the regime. This is when Rohit Sharma took over the captaincy, and we lost the
Yeah.
21 World Cup, 22 World Cup rather, in Australia. Since then, there's been a mindset change, and Rohit Sharma led by example. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is just go and make the most of it. Do not go for the safer option. Go for
Mhm.
it's a high risk, high reward option. There will be times you'll fail, but there's more options where you'll win than you'll fail.
Mm. All right. So looking at the English team, obviously they had a scratchy start,
Mm.
and then utterly dominated the Super Eights, where beat, they basically beat everyone there in all the three matches they played. Kind of adopted a what do you call a baseball light strategy kind of a
Correct.
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
and they are they have kind of incredible depth.
Yes.
So I guess walk us through that, mate, and tell us
So,
what do you think?
look, it's funny. Like the South Africa New Zealand semi-final that we just discussed, I can categorically say that South Africa are the favorites in that. Again, going by their previous track record in this tournament, England, India, even though India had a loss in the Super Eights,
Hmm.
I dare say, just from a form guide alone, the way they've handled their matches, I think they're on level playing field at the moment. They're both
Okay.
sitting there thinking, look, we haven't had a perfect day. but we've
Mhm.
still managed to qualify here. So they've got a big question. We think we've got a big question mark with Abhishek Sharma. They've literally carried Josh Butler in this tournament, and Josh Butler is a legend of the T20 format.
So, what do you think are the tactical tactics that these two teams are going to do? I mean, like say, for example, to counter the off spinners, what is India
Mm.
going to do?
See, look, the off spin challenge, the finger spin challenge, has been negated to us to an extent with Sanju Samson now um, opening the innings and finding some form. So what that does, it's a left and right combination.
Yeah,
An off spinner would mean the ball coming into the right hander, more chance, and Sanju Samson more chance. It's more easy for him to hit it with the spin. It's always
right.
a challenge
Gotcha.
when the
Okay.
ball
So,
goes away
yeah,
the other end, right? And then that's why. And Sanju Samson has a good game against spin. So that's not much of a problem. I
yeah,
think where the matchups now, the key word here is matchups, right?
yeah,
England's look in India's bowling. Let me discuss India's bowling.
yeah.
England's team is settled, right? Um, I can categorically say the team that they're going to field on Friday night, sorry Thursday night rather,
Mm,
is the same team that played against um, New Zealand, against Pakistan rather, except Rayan Ahmed is they're going to replace Rayan Ahmed with Jamie Overton, so he's going to come back now. Their bowling, Jofra Archer has been in brilliant form. Now, the matchup of Jofra Archer versus Sanju Samson is not great for Sanju Samson. Uh,
mm.
he draws a short stick there.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So
And
what
with
do you
the
think it's
sorry,
what do you think are the tactical things they're going to be doing? I mean, obviously one of the things they've done is promote Harry Brook to number three to counter pace.
yeah, well, not just
But
pace. Harry Brook is a generational talent, right?
yeah,
He's the next big thing in international cricket.
yeah,
He's without so he can single handedly win you a game
yeah,
uh, from literally from nowhere, right? From the dead, he can win you the game.
yeah.
Now, what is, I guess, England in their defense as well is they've got the spin game sorted. They've got Adil
Mm,
Rashid. Will Jacks is coming on the back of 4 Man of the Match awards um, in this tournament, which is ridiculous. He would never have been a frontline spinner in the Ashes. He was just tongue to all parts of the ground. So he's riding a wave of confidence. And then in their bowling reserves, they've got Sam Curran, they've got Jamie Overton, they've got Jofra
mhm,
Archer, that team, and they've got Jacob Ethel to bowl in a few overs as well. So that is a more well-rounded attack.
mhm.
I dare say our weak link in the Indian team at the moment is, ironically, believe it or not, is the bowling. Only because, and that South Africa were the first team to sort of expose that, and the teams that followed, including Zimbabwe, uh, clarified that, or solidified that theory as well.
Mm,
Uh, Bumrah is literally every every ball of his is gold dust. It is worth its weight in gold. So it's really about how strategically can we use his 24 balls in the game, in the innings. Now, up until then, our trump cards were Varun Chakravarti and Jasprit Bumrah.
mm.
It looks like they found a way to tackle Varun Chakravarti. His last 3 outings have gone for 40 plus, and he's only picked up, 1 or 2 wickets each in every game. So it almost looks like the teams have lined. South Africa were the first team to line him up, and the way they've looked at it is India have only got 5 genuine bowling options. The sixth one being Shivam Dube. Shivam Dube isn't inspiring confidence. So the way they look at it is, if we can target one of the main bowlers,
Mm.
then they're forced to go. India's plans will astray if they are forced to use their fixed bowler. Against West Indies, we only used 5 bowlers.
Yeah.
So if they can target Varun Chakravarti or even Hardik Pandya, then India don't have a choice but to bring in Shivam Dube. And yeah, he's not your genuine bowling option. So If you had to put money on what the strength of the Indian side is at the moment, it's probably their batting over their bowling. And what they did right against West Indies was
Yep.
they didn't introduce Bumrah very early. They kept his overs for the latter part.
Hmm.
Um, and look, in the Indian team's defense as well, Arshdeep and Hardik Pandya had a good opening spell. Now, if they
Oh,
attack Arshdeep or Hardik Pandya for about 20 runs in the first 2 overs, guess
yeah,
who has to come into the attack early?
yeah,
That's where it becomes hard.
yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Looking at the semifinals, we're going to the pointy end of this vlog,
Tournament.
this topic. Um, Looking at the semifinal matchup dynamics. All right, semifinal one, that is South Africa, New Zealand, Eden Gardens. Who do you think is going to? So I'm going to put it this way. I'm going to ask you the question this way. New Zealand wins the toss. They decide to bat second. Who is going to win the game?
I'm going to say South Africa. That's no discredit to New Zealand. I just think there is a South Africa is here on a mission.
Okay. So I guess that question then, if I reverse that situation and South Africa wins the game, wins the toss, and decides to bat second, I guess you're going to say South Africa then.
Absolutely. I think they're
So
a team that are saying doesn't matter what happens, we will play the conditions as they're presented to us. We've got plans for everything.
all right. So it's kind of you basically stated that South Africa, you think South Africa is going to win.
South
All right.
Africa will be in the final.
All right. All right. Let's go to semi-final two. If India wins the toss, how do you think they're going to go? Are they going to bat first or they're going to bowl first?
That is an interesting one, Martin. I think at the Wankhede, it should make a difference.
Hmm.
Um, I dare say they'll opt to choose to bat second, uh, only
Okay.
because, again, if there's any inkling of dew that comes in, they want to make sure that they're at the other end of it. They don't want their bowlers to
Right.
um, tackle the dew. Because again, it's not just catches that are being sloppy, Martin. India's ground fielding has been sloppy as well. So what
Yeah.
dew does, it makes it slippery as well. So
Okay.
I dare say they wouldn't want the players to be playing in the dew. So I think they'll opt to bat second.
Hmm. And what about if they decide to bat first?
Well, if they're put into bat, then the job's cut out for them.
All right.
Wankhede is a high scoring round.
It
Look,
is. Yeah.
it is a high scoring round. It depends on, and from all reports as well, it looks like the pitch is going to be a bit of an absolute belter as well. It's not the biggest ground. Look, the way to look at it from now on is forget what's happened in the past. Just look
Yeah.
at it as
Yeah.
one-off game.
It's a fresh sheet of paper.
Fresh. It's a new
Blank
sheet of
blank
paper.
slate.
Thanks. Like, that's absolutely right. So just go in there.
Okay.
It now comes down to what personnel India chooses. Like strategically, I think there needs to be a way to play Kuldeep Yadav. I don't know how it's going to work. I would. I'm almost tempted to say, look, if Shivam Dubey isn't going to be played as a bad as an all rounder, then drop him and get Kuldeep Yadav in
Okay.
because they have struggled. England has struggled against the wrist spin, but I don't see that happening. I think the general consensus is these teams tend to be a little superstitious. They'll play with a winning formula, right?
Okay.
It comes down to how Abhishek Sharma.
I don't subscribe to that theory because you have to. I look at it from a point of view like you have to assess your opposition and come up with a plan that best suits to negate their advantage, right? So going with the same team, I don't know whether I agree with that. But look, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is, exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. Flipping the coin and going the other way. If England wins the toss, what do you think they're going to do?
I reckon they'll opt to bat first. I think their strategies will just go
Set
all
set, set set up very high score.
correct. If
Okay.
their philosophy will be just get runs on the board and the pressure is on the chasing team.
Correct. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, so in your thought, game two, who's going to win?
But I'm inclined to say India at this stage. They
Okay.
haven't had the perfect game. But I think they did enough in that West Indies game for me to feel confident. There's a lot of stuff they need to work on. Fielding being the number one thing. If they can sort the fielding out, I think they'll have a real.
How do you sort the fielding out, right? To be honest with you, I'm going to ask you that question. Sorry, I got to just step in and ask. It's
No,
uh, just how do you sort the fielding out a couple
it's
of days from
that's the thing.
main
In a
game?
couple of days' time, it's probably not going to be. But I think this is where the think tank needs to really get strategic about where they place their fielders. Look, this is not a team of 11 gun fielders. There's at least a handful of them that aren't the greatest movers. You need to find a way to put them in pockets where there's less chances of them.
Sparking it up.
Exactly right. Varun Chakravarti, Arshdeep Singh, they should not be at mid on, mid off. They should be at long leg at best. And then have it's almost like bowl to your fielders now as well. So
Yeah.
they need to come up with a bowling plan that makes sure that not only are they giving away runs, but they're hitting the ball straight to those fielders that
Yeah.
are best positioned for that. The case in point
Yeah.
is during that 2024 World Cup, that
Yeah.
was won on the back of Surya Kumar's. I don't think anyone would have taken that catch other than Surya Kumar Yadav. Do you remember the catch
Yeah.
that on the boundary? Do you know what I mean that's the sort
Yeah.
of strategic placement we need? We need to have the best fielders fielding in the hot spots. Simple as that. That's the only way we can work on that now.
All right. Well, that has been absolutely, captivating and entertaining conversation we've had today. I'm going to get you to sign off and just give us the final thoughts, mate, and then we can sign off.
Oh, brilliant! Look, for once, there's no doesn't look like the rain gods are going to play spoil sport in anything.
That's good.
Uh, but look, I think South Africa. If you want to get your money's not money's worth, I think India South Africa final at the Narendra Modi Stadium will be a mouth-watering prospect. It gives a chance for redemption for South Africa, and dare I say, it
Mm.
is also look. This is not writing off the other teams. I say if India get to the Narendra Modi Stadium, they'll have their work cut out as well because yeah, winning the semi-final is it's half the job really. Uh,
It has not been a happy hunting ground for the Indian team at Narendra Modi Stadium,
in
So I
World
don't
tournaments,
know
it's
whether that is going to be in our favor, to be brutally honest.
look, I think what again, they look at it as two separate games. So right now, the objective is to win the semifinal, but when it
Yeah.
gets to the final, I think they'll have to rejig their plan and their personnel. They'll
Yeah.
have to come up.
Okay.
They'll have to come up with a different game plan.
Yeah.
Because this game plan, South Africa knows inside out. So it's
Yeah. 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 We can't come up with the same game plan.
no.
That's,
So they
that's
need
for
to
sure.
come up with another way as well. And yeah. So
Something
we'll
that
worry about that.
surprised. It's something that will take make be, sorry, apologies. I'm running out of words here. Um, that will
Well,
surprise them that,
correct. Take them
and then
unawares.
and basically then force them to start thinking and hopefully they make mistakes.
And to that point, Martin, all I have to say is just look at how the India Australia final was played in the
That's the one I
23
was
World
going
Cup.
for. Yeah.
What
With it.
what Australia did, they just changed. India thought India were expected to win. India knew they would win, and then Australia just went with a different game plan, caught them completely unawares, and
Yeah. Yes.
that's the way they have to look
Completely
at it.
took the game off them, right? All right. On that lovely note, I am going to say goodbye. But before I do that, I just want to tell everyone: look, if you're a subscriber, thank you very much for watching this our content. If you're new to the channel, please, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and that would be great. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. Please do, and we would also love to hear some comments. So yeah, please, if you could do all that, that'd be greatly appreciated. I will hand it over to you, Vinny. Just final,
Closing notes. Yeah.
yeah, closing notes, if you don't mind.
No, no, absolutely, Martin. Like we said, we're down to the pointy end of it. So we were literally about 72 hours, 72 to 96 hours away from the World Cup final, right?
Indeed.
And look, every team they've started, they've stumbled, but they've made it to the semi-finals.
Mm.
Look, as much as we criticize the Indian team, credit where credit's due, they've still found a way to win. It's now just a matter of stepping up a notch. This Indian team hasn't played the perfect game. If there ever was a time to play that perfect game, it's on Friday night and hopefully on the Sunday night as well.
It will be a broadcaster's.
Oh,
It
look,
will be a
it's
broadcaster's wet dream if India is in the final. Let me just
actually,
put it.
Martin, to that point as well. Look, no team has won back-to-back T20 World Cups,
Mm.
right? And on top of that as well, amongst these four semi-finalists, two of them have never lifted the cup. So
Yep.
it's everything to play for. Every team has.
Everything to play for. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But if India is in the finals, I can tell you now it's a broadcaster's wet dream, and there's no question about the entire country would be glued onto the
Look,
televisions, including
it
people
will.
like us and the diaspora too. That is like us, idiots like us will
But
be sitting down,
it'll
glaring
be
into
what
the night.
but it is it if you fail at the Narendra Modi Stadium, it is a lonely place to fail. Again, I go back to that World Cup final. Pin drop silence. There were 100,000 people there, but you could hear a pin drop
Pin drop.
there. So
On that,
yeah,
on that absolutely lovely note, and on that bombshell, we're going to close this off. Thank you very, very much, Vinny. It's been
pleasure,
I
man.
we really appreciate the fact that you've got, on the shortest of notice, you've come on board and did the analysis. Appreciate it all. Thank you very much, mate.